All right, let's talk about something that's happening in your house right now. Something you can't see. It's an invisible thief, and it's quietly stealing your comfort and your cash one tiny draft at a time. We're talking about hidden air leaks, and today we're going to learn how to catch them in the act.
You know that feeling, right? The thermostat says it's toasty, you're wearing a sweater, but you still feel this phantom draft. Well, I'm here to tell you, that chill is not in your head. It's a real sign that your home is losing a secret battle against the outside elements.
So what are we up against? Well, we're fighting an invisible enemy. It's silently draining the heat right out of your home, making you uncomfortable and, you guessed it, making your energy bills way higher than they should be.
The official term for this is air infiltration, and it's pretty much exactly what it sounds like. It's all the unwanted outside air sneaking into your house. Every little crack, every tiny gap, they all act like a small open window, letting the warm air you paid for escape.
Now, this whole process gets supercharged by a little something called the stack effect. Just think of your house like a giant chimney. All that warm air you've created naturally rises, and it escapes through leaks in your attic. This creates a vacuum down below, which then sucks cold air right into your basement or crawl space. You're literally paying to heat the great outdoors.
This is why just guessing isn't going to cut it. We need hard data. We need precision. There's an old saying that's perfect here. You simply cannot manage what you do not measure. And to measure these invisible leaks, we have to call in a specialist. And that specialist is the blower door. This piece of equipment is basically a leak detective for your home. It's specifically designed to hunt down every single hidden crack and gap, forcing them to reveal exactly where they are.
So this is it. It might look a little intense, but it's really just three key parts. First, you've got a frame and a nylon sheet that seals off an exterior door. Second, there's a big, powerful, calibrated fan that fits right into that frame. And third, you have the manometer. That's the brains of the whole operation. It measures air pressure and airflow with incredible accuracy.
So how does this whole setup actually work? Well, it's not magic, it's just some really cool physics. It uses a fundamental principle of science to make every leak in your house impossible to ignore. It really is all about the science of suction. Okay, it all comes down to something called a pressure differential. Sounds fancy, I know, but you already understand it perfectly. Just imagine blowing up a balloon. The air inside is at a high pressure. The moment you let it go, what happens? The air rushes out into the lower pressure room. That's it. Air always moves from high pressure to low pressure, no exception. The blower door uses that exact rule. The fan starts pulling air out of the house, which creates a low pressure zone inside. So what does the higher pressure air outside want to do? It desperately wants to get in and balance things out. And it will find a way, rushing in through every single crack, every unsealed light fixture, every tiny gap you never knew existed. The leaks have absolutely nowhere to hide. Now, to make sure this test is consistent, so you can compare one house to another, we depressurize the house to a very specific standardized level, 50 pascals. So, what on earth is a pascal? Let's put it this way. 50 pascals is like having a 20-mile-per-hour wind blowing on your house from every single direction all at the same time. It's a serious, consistent force that makes even the tiniest little leaks scream for attention. And I'm not kidding, you can literally feel it. Technicians tell stories about homeowners putting their hand next to a normal-looking light switch while the fan is running, and their eyes just go wide. They can actually feel the cold air pouring into the room. It's that aha moment where the invisible enemy becomes very, very real.
Okay, so we've found the leaks. They're real. Now what? The test gives us a final score, a number that tells us the true story of how leaky our home is. So let's figure out how to decode that score. The machine gives us two key numbers. The first is CFM50. That's the total volume of air leaking, measured in cubic feet per minute. But, a huge house is going to leak more than a tiny one, right? That's why the most important number is ACH50. That stands for air changes per hour. It tells you how many times in 1 hour the entire volume of air inside your house gets swapped out with outside air.
Here is a fantastic way to think about it. Your house does need to breathe a little bit, but it shouldn't be running a marathon 24/7. A really high ACH50 score means your house is just exhausting itself, constantly swapping out the air you just paid to heat or cool. It's a huge waste of energy.
So what's a good score? Well, with ACH50, lower is always better. A really high-performance, energy-efficient home might score around a 1. Most new building codes require a score of 5 or less, but it's not at all uncommon for an older, typical home to score a 10, or even way higher, and that just represents a massive opportunity for savings.
But look, at the end of the day, this test isn't about getting a grade on your home's report card. It's about getting a roadmap. The data gives you a clear, prioritized plan of action to make your home better.
The results show you exactly where to put your effort to get the most bang for your buck. And because of that stack effect we talked about earlier, the single most effective thing you can do is air seal the very top and the very bottom of your house, your attic and your basement or crawl space.
And the benefits here are huge. We're talking about so much more than just lower energy bills. You get way more comfort without those annoying drafts. You get better indoor air quality because you're not sucking in dust and pollen all the time. You can even help prevent moisture issues and make your furnace and AC last longer. It's a win-win-win. All of this work, all this sealing, it's focused on improving what experts call the building envelope. The easiest way to think about it is that it's the skin of your house. It's the complete barrier that separates your cozy indoor space from the world outside.
And that brings us to maybe the most important takeaway of all. So many people think insulation is the answer to everything. But that's like wearing a thick wool coat on a windy day without zipping it up. The wind just blows right through. The insulation is the wool, but the air sealing, that's the zipper. You absolutely need both to be comfortable and efficient.
So I'll leave you with this last thought. You probably know the miles per gallon for your car, right? Well, your home is almost certainly your biggest investment and your biggest energy user. So shouldn't you know its performance score too? Thanks for tuning in.